Country 103.5. It is Spence and Dougie and a special guest, Morgan Evans. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. It's good to chat to you, fellas.
God, you're going to be up here in Minnesota a week from Friday, for crying out loud, playing at kind of a new event for this area, Vicky's Camp and Country. It's got to feel pretty good to be back out on tour, getting past all this COVID stuff and playing live again.
Oh, man, it is so good. I feel like every night before we go on stage, the boys and I sort of take a moment just to be grateful that we get to do it. I mean, you don't realize sometimes how much you take for granted until it's taken away. And, yeah, man, it feels so good to be back. And I'm stoked for this show.
I was going to say, this is in what a unique opportunity, too, because it's kind of that in-betweener show. It's billed as an intimate setting, but 1,000 tickets sold, and the camping is right there. I mean, basically, you roll out of the camper and you're there. I mean, this sounds like it's going to be quite a party crew.
Yeah, those kind of shows where people stay at the show are always the best because it's like full investment. There's no one just sort of popping their head in. It's like, we're here, let's have a good time together, and we're ready for it.
Well, tell me about, okay, are you a car guy? Because I was watching the video for a song that you released last fall, Love is Real, and I think that's your wife in the video too, although you can't see her face, but I quite like that Toyota.
Isn't that cool? Yeah, I can't remember what year that was. That's like an FJ. I guess it's a Land Cruiser, before they even called them Land Cruisers, though. And that blue and white two-tone thing is really cool. We shot that up in Colorado, and, I mean, it's such a beautiful landscape that I thought that classic old four-wheel drive would be a perfect mix. I don't know if I'd call myself a car guy, but I can definitely appreciate it. I'll put it that way.
Oh, okay. Were you driving it? Because I was watching a video and you shift. I'm like, well, it looks like kind of an odd time to shift. Were you shifting or were they pulling you?
No. I was definitely shifting. I mean, it was a proper old truck too. Like it was
right.
Not the easiest thing to drive, but I sort of grew up driving stick anyway, and my old truck here is stick, so that's not too much of an issue for me.
Well, tell me about that track, because I really like that. And you've released a couple of songs over the last 6-7 months.
Yeah, thanks, man. We put out the first half of the album. The album's called The Country and the Coast, and the first half, side A, is the one with Love is Real on it. Actually, there's a song about my old truck on there, speaking of trucks, called American Dream Truck as well. But, man, it's like, it feels like a progression to me. I moved from Australia about 6 years ago, and I started playing around this country solo with a loop pedal, and this EP, or the first half of the album, feels like my graduation to having the full band in America. And so, it was really exciting to get in the studio with the band and bring these songs to life. And that particular song, Love is Real, is just about celebrating all the great little moments that sometimes we take for granted, as we were just talking about.
You know what else is really neat is, and I don't know how you got hooked up with Rivers Cuomo, but I like some Weezer, and he really sings quite well on the Country Out of My Girl.
Yeah, man, that's funny.
Doesn't he? Yeah.
That was one of those cool, like, never would have thought of things that happened thanks to the internet. We've been in Australia for Christmas, visiting the family, and I kept hearing this old Weezer song, Island in the Sun. And so when I got back, I just made this little kind of loop cover video and threw it up on TikTok. And the next thing, like, Weezer was commenting on it and sharing it. And then Rivers, singer of Weezer, obviously reached out through management and apparently loved Country Out of My Girl. And he rewrote this verse chorus and sent over the vocal already done. And I loved it the first time I heard it, and I couldn't not share it with the world. So I'm stoked to have that out there too.
Well, what I liked about it was, he's not just harmonizing with you. He's got some pretty good significant time that he actually sings in that song.
Yeah, man. And he rewrote all that. I mean, the fact that we have, like, fishnet hose and the vampires and stuff like that in a country song, I think is, you can hear, I'm just cracking up laughing about it now. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, definitely kind of a cross-genre thing going there for. So
yeah.
You said that you were back in Australia over Christmas. I love the fact that you can still hear that Australian accent even though you've been over here for 6 years. But when you go back to visit, the one thing that I've heard most about Australia is literally everything over there wants to kill you. Is that a safe assessment?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it's so funny. I feel like the publicist for Australia's wildlife has done a really bad job in America. Whoever that is. It's funny because like everything is true. Like, yes, there's all these spiders that can kill you and snakes and stuff like that can kill you, but it's not like you run into them every day. I don't know the best way to describe it. I will say the first time I took Kelsey back there, she hates spiders, and so do I. But I grew up with them. And I remember we walked in like to the spare bedroom where we were staying in my parents' house, and we walked in, and there was this spider like as big as my hand, right above the bed. And it was the first night in Australia, and I turned around, and she was coming down the hall. I was like, "Hey, babe, can you just grab me some water?" And I took off my thong, my flip flop, and I killed this thing, whipped it under the bed, and she never knew about it. So there's always a way around it, I think, is the moral of the story.
We're talking with Morgan Evans, again, going to be playing a week from Friday over in Redwood Falls, Minnesota for Vicky's Camp and Country Jam. And it's got to be fun because you've had some really good success and some big songs like Day Drunk. It's got to be just a blast to be on stage and watching people sing that song as loud as they can back to you with a beer in their hand.
Yeah, it's kind of the perfect time to play that song. It's funny, that song, I mean, it started off as just kind of this little almost ditty about kind of like a country version of like Afternoon Delight even. And in the context of an afternoon at a country festival, it just turns into this massive kind of drinking, cups up in the air kind of moment. And I mean, we've been closing the show with that here for the last kind of year. We never used to do that, but I don't know if everyone just drank so much in the daytime through the lockdowns that it just became my biggest song during that time. And so, we've moved that to the end of the set, and we close the show with it now, which is a really fun way to sort of get to say goodbye. Yeah,
you might be onto something there. So what's on the horizon for you? You have some more releases, single releases coming up, album releases?
Yeah, man. I'm actually headed to the studio right after we finish chatting to record the next single, which is super fun. And exciting. And, mate, I think maybe a week and a half we head off to just make up for lost time and then do, like, we're going all over the world this year. We're going to the UK and Europe and a bunch of countries I've never even been to with Brad Paisley. And then we're going to come back to the States and do a bunch of headline stuff here and then head down to Australia and New Zealand after that. So it's a pretty full calendar, but as you say, man, we haven't done it for a long time, and we're really looking forward to getting out there.
Is it difficult juggling that, your personal life and your marriage to Kelsey with your business life, your work life with the touring and singing and recording?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's an extra level of challenge, but I mean, I think the best thing we've found is just to be ahead of it, like look ahead, because it's really easy. Especially, like we're always talking about, like, when we talk with people, like when shows are coming in, we're always talking like 3-6 months ahead. And so if we can stay 3 to 6 months ahead with our personal schedule, which I would never do otherwise, we've got to just try to do that to make sure that, there's not too many days go by where we don't cross paths.
Well, such a pleasure to talk with you. And again, he's going to be in Minnesota a week from Friday, Doug, at Vicky's Camp and Country Jam. Should be a blast. We've got tickets to give away, and I know you're busy. We thank you so much for your time, and we'll see you up here in Minnesota next week sometime.
Yeah, thanks so much, fellas. I can't wait, and hopefully I get to see you then, and we can have a beer.
That sounds great, man. It's a pleasure to talk to you.
All right. See you, fellas.
Thank you, Morgan.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.